And in attendance, just have to get the got it off there here. Okay, in attendance. So we have, right now, we have excused, we have Joe, George, and Yoko. So I'm calling the meeting at 6:03. The motion to excuse George, Yoko, and Joe, moved by Joanne, seconded by Bruce. Does anyone have any objections to that? Okay, carried. Now we have Jessie absent, but I'm going to assume that maybe she'll pop in later. So we will leave her just as unexcused. Okay, so the agenda. Do we have any additions to the agenda that's not already there?
Madam Chair, I don't have an addition, but I do have a request under business arising. If there's any chance we may be able to swap the discussion with myself and the review of the 22 work plan. I do have another commitment this evening, and I just don't want to have to duck out while you're discussing your work plan. So if it's at all possible that we could discuss bylaw services first.
Absolutely. I have no issue with that. We could even move you up to be a delegation if you want. It's just so nice to have you here. Does anyone have any objection to that switch?
No, go for it.
Okay, thank you. So confirmation of the agenda, moved by Joanne, seconded by Bruce. Any objection?
Can we see the agenda?
It did get sent out. I can put it up. Sorry, I have it here. Let's hope this works. I want to share my screen. For some reason, I'm seeing Joanne here and not my own Zoom meeting.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Can you see it?
Yep.
Yep.
You can see the, oh, thank God. Okay. It is there, yay. Okay, so now we are at the agenda. Do you want me to scroll through it then? Or are you good with it?
We're good.
Not
I'm
good.
good. I've read it.
Okay, so Joanne and Bruce confirm the agenda. And so I'm assuming that we're not all getting rich off this meeting. So disclosure of pecuniary interest and the adoption of the minutes. I believe that nobody really had any concerns, but does anyone have a concern for the minutes? Should I pull them up?
Oh, I have a concern only if the minutes could be sent out in Word and not PDF, because what I have here that I do Zoom on, I can't pull it up. It does a bunch of funny things. So Word might be better if that's possible.
That's possible. I can send it in Word and as well as PDF.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks. Okay, do I need to scroll through the minutes or is everybody okay with them?
I think we're good with them. We've all had a chance to read them.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, so we'll go back to the agenda. So moved by Joanne, seconded by Bruce, that the minutes be adopted of February 3rd. No one has a problem with that? Okay, Brian, please take it away.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm not entirely sure what the committee wanted to discuss. I know just sort of about litter in the community and opportunities to encourage compliance with the anti-littering bylaw. What I can tell you is, with respect to public education, so maybe I should take a couple of steps back. You probably know that bylaw enforcement, the responsibility for bylaw enforcement was transferred from emergency services to corporate services at the beginning of the year. So that's why I'm here speaking to you and not Mr. Popovic. We have a new bylaw enforcement officer. She was a municipal employee prior to taking on this role, but she had been on a maternity leave. She came back from maternity leave and took on the bylaw enforcement officer position. Her name is Desiree Barrett. The first month there was a lot of training and orientation and all that kind of stuff. But Desiree has done very well and has gotten up to speed quite quickly. And one of the, so just to let you know, in the past, some of the public education we've done with respect to bylaw enforcement has traditionally been related to, we have this series called Getting to Know Your Local Bylaws. And so we pick some of the regulatory bylaws, so whether that be, parking or snowmobile use or garbage collection or littering or whatever the case may be, and we sort of pick out some of the, when we notice that there's some issues with non-compliance with those, we've done some public education to say, okay, did you know we have this bylaw and this is what it's about and this is what you need to do. And I think it has, some impact. We push that out through our social media channels and so on and so forth. But one of the things we've been talking about that we hope to get underway early in the second quarter in the spring is starting to do a series of short video clips on things that would be important for members of the public to know with respect to our regulatory bylaws. And so that would feature Desiree, doing a, maybe anywhere from 30-second to 1-minute video, because we know that folks don't like to watch things that are, I think TikTok has set 30 seconds, so we may try to keep to that. That seems to be a reasonable attention span to expect this day and age. So, and doing some short videos around a number of topics. So, one of those things, of course, certainly can be related to littering. I wanted to just sort of start with that and share those thoughts with you, and then welcome any conversation or questions or dialogue or concerns that you may have with respect to our enforcement of the anti-littering bylaw.
Anyone have anything they would like to ask Brian?
I'd like to see that. That's a great idea. I'd like to see that video that young student did a few years ago. I'd love to see that sort of more out there.
1 sec, I'm just going to see.
You still have that one?
I believe we do.
Yeah.
Just going to have a peek here. Let's see here. Oh, that one may not have gotten moved over. But yeah, we can absolutely feature that one again as well.
Mm-hmm. I was also wondering too, Francis Cedar Bay has a really good connection with Tim Hortons now, and particularly the people in Winnipeg who really like us. Do you think is there any room for, or any possibility that they have strategies to decrease the littering? Because let's face it, probably 50% of the litter is their stuff.
Good advertising.
Yeah. I suppose.
I have a question too, Brian. I think we need more garbage cans. I'm an avid walker and I walk every day around town, and I'm just getting so disgusted with the amount of garbage that I'm seeing on all the streets and everything, especially on the ones that are well walked. say, even going up towards the hospital there on, what's the name of whatever the street is. One garbage can has disappeared from there. I don't know where it went, but it was 2 blocks from the hospital, and now it's gone. And I see that the walkway to the hospital now has 2 garbage cans, but I think down that street, what street is that? Is that 6th or whatever it is? Yeah, I think we need more garbage cans starting right at the corner of 6th and Front. Maybe even 2 more, just because people are walking from Timmy's heading up towards the hospital and there's garbage galore. Maybe it's blown. Yeah, that's a possibility, but Timmy's cups and food wrappers and all that kind of stuff. And the same with, what are the other streets? Queen Street, for example. Not until from one end of the west end of Queen and 4th, I think it is, or 1st, pardon me. The first garbage can that I reach is right at the corner there of the municipal building, and then there's nothing thereof for the whole length of Queen. So I mean, even if the town works people, whoever's in charge of garbage collecting or whatever, they should do a little inventory of where all these garbage cans are, and we need more. I know they're expensive, but we need more. Even going up 3rd, especially in the summertime, it's like 3rd Ave is just disgusting because there's no garbage cans on 3rd Ave until you hit Ball Diamonds. And at the Ball Diamonds, where the high school is, the new high school, this is my pet peeve because I walk through there a lot, and the high school kids are standing around at lunchtime on their breaks or whatever. They're smoking, they're eating, and everything is on the ground. There's not a garbage can in sight until they go in that main door. There's one right by the main door. Nothing else on the grounds other than way, way back on the playing field or whatever it is. And there's still garbage over there too. But that one spot where the kids congregate, and I don't know if that's municipal property or if that's school property, and it's disgusting. Like, the school should be getting the kids to clean up or put some garbage cans over there. Simple as that. And maybe the kids will use them. But every year when it comes to the April clean up our town, it's the citizens of Sioux that are going up there to clean up the kids' mess. So there's a good educational piece. Call the school, tell them to get their kids, doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's
There's
my
a good video. I am having a hard time. I can't see, I see you now, but I can't see raised hands. So if I'm sharing my screen, I can't see raised hands. So if you just jump in, please do. Brian, can you share with us, please, whose job is it? The clerk's department is doing bylaws, but who is doing the garbage pickup? Like Joanne's, is that bylaw or is that?
Yeah, so the Recreation and Culture Department takes care of the outdoor garbage cans and that type of thing. So the garbage cans that we have currently, yes, they are responsible for them. I know there was an inventory done, I believe it was 3 years ago. So I'll have to look at sort of where that was left and what was done with that. As you know, there's been a fair bit of turnover at the management level in the recreation department over the last few years. So I'm hoping now that we have a manager in place that some of these issues can be addressed more directly. And I agree that having garbage cans in convenient locations is important, and it's great for folks who are inclined to use them. Unfortunately, that's a certain percentage of the population, and then there's another percentage of the population who, I've even seen people put their garbage on top of a garbage can on Front Street and not put it in it. So the availability of garbage cans is certainly important, and I'll certainly speak to the recreation manager about that. But I think we also have to couple that with additional public education around why it's important not to litter and to clean up after yourself. So I think we may need a double-pronged approach to that issue.
Wonder, can I jump in?
Yes, please do.
It's almost a, it boggles my mind. I mean, I think everybody agrees. But is there any place that has figured out a way to stop it? And like, I was just thinking, you know, if those kids were made to clean up as soon as the snow goes, it might impress on them that it's not a great idea to do this. I mean, if there's some way of deterring this, but you know, re-education in a way, you know what I mean? Is there any town that's figured it out?
Not that I'm aware of.
There are some mighty clean towns out there, though.
Yeah. How do they stop this? This is almost like a disease, you know? How do they stop
Covered
it?
garbage pops.
I know that not everybody is in favor of my let's shame people, but you know, take a picture of the litterers and put it out there. So,
Something.
but anyway,
That
while
goes
we've
for
got,
food.
anybody else have anything else to ask Brian about?
I do have one question. And Brian, I'm wondering, and probably this is on the municipal website, I haven't checked yet, but is there a list of all bylaws that would pertain or be of interest to the Environment Committee? I'm only aware of the littering one and the idling bylaw, but I don't know if there's anything else that would pertain to our committee.
Yes, so a number, well, all of our bylaws are accessible through the website, but as you can appreciate, you know, probably 90% of them are administrative in nature, you know, to execute contracts and that kind of stuff. We do have regulatory bylaws, and I'd be happy to, you know, to pull them out specifically, especially ones that I think may relate to the Environment Committee. Joyce, I think you and I may have had a bit of a conversation about this a number of years ago, but I'd be happy to pull out those bylaws. Like, you know, for example, I'm just trying to wrap my head here around things that may be relevant to your committee. Yeah, I'll have to give that a little more thought, but I'm happy to look into that and provide you with a list that you know, that would be of interest to the committee for sure.
Well, I know that years ago, it was part of our work plan that I was the one responsible for going through all the bylaws and finding out what pertained to the Environment Committee. But, and there really were very few, but, and we did have conversations then, but I'm sure there's new and approved ones that we could probably look at.
So some were mostly policies rather than bylaws per se.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And that would still be the case. I know, like over the last few years, for example, we, by legislation, we were required to, which I thought was a bit, I'm not really sure how much it would apply here in the north, given that we're located in the middle of the boreal forest, but something about tree canopies. Jody, I remember you brought that policy forward at the time. You know, it was a policy of the province that every city and town in Ontario needs to have a policy with respect to, you know, natural tree canopy and that kind of stuff. So I know there's that policy as well. Yeah, so I'm happy to have a look at those again, both the bylaws and the policies that may be of interest, and you know, I'd be happy to send those along. Absolutely.
Thanks, Brian. I think those would be helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
So Brian, I'm going to switch gears here, and I didn't ask anybody about this, but we are going to be talking about our Environment Committee Facebook page later in the agenda. Mm-hmm. And just to ask you this question, and then we can let you go, is do we have carte blanche? Can we be posting education pieces, or does it have to go through you?
I don't necessarily think it has to go through me. I mean, I think the committee has become quite skilled in its public communication and educational pieces. You know, things that I've looked at over the last number of years that have come from the committee have been great. You know, I think in the interest of, I mean, one of the nice things about Facebook is that, you know, it's that instantaneousness of it, and that you get to get your message out really quickly, and sometimes having to vet things through you know, through corporate communications. You know, I try to be as quick as I can, but sometimes it's not as quick as you may like. So with respect to the environment page, I'm comfortable just having you post things. And then if there ever comes a time where it results in, you know, an enormous falling out, then we may revisit it and chat about it at that time. But, you know, I don't have any concerns. I mean, all the information that you've put out in the past with respect to public education around a wide assortment of topics has been really on point and creative and respectful. And so I'm very comfortable having you post, you know, what you feel is appropriate. So no concerns from me there.
Yeah, thank you. So does
Hey, Brian,
anyone-
before you go, I want to speak about recycling and what the town has plans or thinking about to increase the participation rate of not only commercial recycling, but residential recycling, either through public education, which similar to putting garbage in a garbage pail doesn't really work, or enacting of bylaws like you see in some of the larger city centers, whereas if it is noted you have recyclables in your residential garbage, it's not picked up. Any
Right.
thoughts?
So a couple of things with respect to recycling. So as you may or may not be aware, the province is transitioning to what they're calling full producer responsibility for recyclable products. And that's happening starting in 2023 or 2024. Sorry, I don't have that literature in front of me at the moment. And what's going to happen at that time is that the municipality will actually no longer have a role in recycling with respect to being the entity that collects it and manages it and funds it. It'll be fully funded through this new program that the province is putting into place, and the companies that produce materials that are required to be recycled, they will be required to fund this program. I'm not quite sure how it's all going to work, but I do know that Sioux Lookout is on the list for rollout in 2024. So at that time, our contract with the current provider would cease, and I'm not sure who the contractor will be, if it'll be the same one that we have now, or if the province is going to bring new players into the mix. I'm not too sure about that. However, that's just kind of an aside. To get to the meat of your question, with respect to encouraging recycling, yeah, I mean, it's certainly something that we do want people to do. I mean, we provide. You know, actually, this committee has provided in the past those really nice brochures that list, you know, what is and isn't recyclable, and we try our hardest to get that out and get that information out. With respect to you know, sort of looking at what is being collected and not collecting it, if there's recyclable material commingled with regular garbage, that would require a bit of thought. I'd have to do some research to see how other communities implement that and how that works. But it's an interesting idea for sure. I know it works the other way, where if you have garbage in with your recycling, it won't be collected. But that's usually because it's very visible. It's a little more challenging when you're dealing with black bags, and you know, I'm not sure how that would work. But it's certainly something that we could take a look at and learn more about for sure.
Great, thanks.
My pleasure.
But maybe it's probably not a bylaw, but maybe an education piece if you're doing little videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I know there was certainly some displeasure with respect to the recycling program this past fall from some members of the community with respect to the requirement to, we're not using blue bags anymore. We have to use the bins, that kind of stuff. I know there was some pushback around some of that, but our hands are pretty tied with respect to that, because it's not actually the recycling company that's making these requirements. It's the transfer station in Dryden that is operated by the city of Dryden, and that's requiring some of this stuff. So, I think for the most part, we've overcame many of those hurdles, and I think we have a fairly high level of compliance with what the requirements are right now. But compliance only speaks to those who are actually participating in the program. There's still a segment of the population, no doubt, that still choose to put recyclable materials in the garbage. I think one of the things that works in our favor, is the financial penalty, if you will. If you put your recycling in the garbage, then you're having to pay for a garbage bag take, whereas recycling is free of charge. So, but again, sometimes it comes down to convenience for some folks, and they prefer to just throw that kind of stuff away, which is really unfortunate, and certainly doesn't do any favors to our landfill or to the environment in general. So I think looking at ways to encourage folks to recycle, I think, is really important, and I think we need to to look at that more closely. I'm glad you brought that up. What was I going to say on that point as well? Sorry, thought escapes me at the moment.
Well, thank you, Brian.
My pleasure.
Brian,
Yes.
would you like me to get hold of the Tim Hortons contact person and just see whether or not they've got anything, and just tell them Sioux Lookout is really interested to see if
Yeah,
they have
absolutely.
anything?
I mean, if they have other strategies, I know one of the things that would be probably really helpful, which they discontinued some time ago, was having garbage cans actually on their property. They don't anymore outside. There used to be garbage cans in the drive-through lanes. And they removed that because, or what they told us was that people were using them to put household garbage in. They would bring their garbage to the drive-through and then deposit it in their garbage cans when they were picking up their coffee in the morning or whenever. So I think that may have been one of the reasons they discontinued it. It would be really helpful if they could find a way to reinstate those garbage cans on their property. I think that would address, it certainly wouldn't address all of the concerns, but I think it would definitely help. I mean, even now, as you drive through the drive-through, there's all kinds of cups that have been just thrown in the snowbank behind the dumpster, which are starting to appear now that we're getting a little bit of sunshine and warmer temperatures. So, and we have received some complaints about that. So, yeah, I mean, anything that they could do to help in terms of strategies or education campaigns, or hey, if we are looking at more garbage cans for the community, if that's something that we can facilitate, maybe they would be prepared to donate some of them to the municipality to put in certain places around the community. Anything like that would be extraordinarily helpful.
Yeah, if they could even just use recyclable lids on the coffee, because I think the black ones are not recyclable.
Mm-hmm.
The white ones apparently are.
Oh, okay.
That's what I hear. I'm not sure. But
from what I understand, if there's a food product in them and they're not washed, then it's not recyclable.
Mm.
That's what I understand. Bruce would probably know more than me.
I'm speaking from the old collector. Yes, it would need to be clean, but that is, it's a tough thing to sort. You're definitely not going to do it at the end of the driveway, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I hear you. Lots of bad stuff out there as far as leaving food waste in, leaving liquid dish soap in your shampoo, or your or your dishwashing soap, all kinds of stuff like that. And I don't know what the answer is. It seems a shame you have to use fresh water to clean out a food container so it can be recycled when a lot of the world doesn't have access to fresh water.
Okay, I'll get hold of her and just see if there's anything she can think of. Because she really likes Sioux Lookout. This Nasli really likes Sioux Lookout. So
Oh, that's
hold her.
great, and great that you have that relationship
Mhm.
with them for sure. Yeah, and I mean, I think even with respect to the the garbage cans and whatnot, and I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but there may even be opportunities that they be branded as Tim Horton garbage cans, if they want to use it as a marketing tool or something like that. If they were to donate some to the municipality, of course we'd want to chat with them if they are interested in that, just to kind of make sure we get a product that's going to stand up to the abuses of winter and vandalism and so on. But I think that sounds really encouraging. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, will do.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you, Brian. We shouldn't keep you any longer. But...
Oh, my pleasure. As things go on, and if you'd like an update or have other questions in the future, I'd be very happy to join you again.
Thank you.
Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay. We're back to the agenda, which says business arising, the 2022 work plan. Now, on the agenda here is the draft work plan. Brooke, is there anything different from the work plan to this one?
No, it should all be the same.
Okay, so I can't see us doing any different. So I guess we'll just, my mouse is, sorry, my mouse is acting up.
Anne, I'm actually sharing my screen. I don't know if that's what you're seeing.
Oh, you're sharing a screen?
Yeah, you're having difficulty, so I just jumped in there earlier.
Perfect. I'm gonna just get off my shared screen then.
Okay.
Okay,
Now, do you want me to scroll down?
sure, but I have to find you here. I'm gonna get off that. Yeah, you see, I think it's because it's a PDF document. And so what's coming up on mine is not a shared screen, it's just the document is being shown. So anyway, that's perfect. If you would do that, Jody, I'll bake you cookies if I ever bake, which really doesn't happen.
Just grab me some Tim Hortons.
Pardon?
So just grab me some Tim Hortons.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're on the work plan. The first one is curbside swap. No. Okay, I printed it all out and now I don't have pages. Curbside swap, okay. So does anyone have anything different that they think we should be adding to this? I think we've all gone through the work plan and seems to be okay. I know there's still lots of people posting on the Facebook page, so which isn't really ours, but okay, anyone? Okay, composting options. I'm hoping that our Facebook page will have opportunities for that. I went on that workshop last night about gardening and it had some interesting composting things. This guy's in Toronto. So anyway, okay. Anybody? No. Communication and education. Again, I think our Facebook page is going to, Now, we have that resources needed, social media, Facebook. Is this where we talk about our Facebook? Joyce?
Yeah, it's a separate item, but we can talk about it anytime, really. Why don't we get through, we just want to approve this work plan.
Okay, let's get
23,
through
don't we?
this and then we'll
Yeah.
talk about it. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you. Okay. So we're good with that. Community garden. Joanne, you good with that?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was on mute. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I mean, so what we're doing right now is we're approving the work plan and then we're gonna go back and talk about anything? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, environmental recognition. You could scroll up for that or down or however it works with you, Jody. Okay. Hearing nobody. Okay. So we'll go on to promotion of locally sourced food. Let's hope we have some farmers markets and things this year. Okay. The next one, is it waste reduction? Yes. Okay. And then the next one used to be our mow-free zone, but it's now changed to promoting the establishment of natural ecosystems. All right. And then eco-friendly transportation. Okay, so is there anyone that does not approve of this work plan? Should we make a motion that we approve this work plan?
I just have one question.
Okay.
And so with regards to the eco-friendly transportation, because I'm looking at some of the tasks and one of them is to act in an advisory capacity to ensure infrastructure and initiatives are being considered. And I wonder if we think that's a feasible work plan item for this year. I understand that we can do the education around it, which could fall under that work plan item. But in terms of advising on infrastructure to the town, is that something that we would realistically be doing this year?
Well, I think so, because what I read into this, at least this is my perspective, is that the infrastructure would be things like when there's work plans for resurfacing roads, that we would attempt to advise the municipality to put in bike lanes so that it's more of an eco-friendly place, or put in bike racks, those kinds of things that would promote eco-friendly transportation. That's my take. Anyone else want to jump in there?
Yeah, it's Joanne. I agree with you, Anne. That's how I understood it to be too.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. I wasn't at the last meeting, so yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
I think we also talked about when the town's replacing vehicles, if they could at least look into maybe hybrid vehicles or electrical vehicles. I'm not talking the dump trucks or the loaders, but I'm talking about, say, the bylaws pickup, for example. Whenever that comes up for renewal, should they get off fossil fuels if they could?
Hey, speaking to electric vehicles, we were approved to buy a new ice resurfacer, and they are looking at a battery operated one.
Oh.
Which actually Kenora has one. The price is actually fairly reasonable, so I think that's the path we're going to be taking.
Oh, well, that's a bonus. Very good. Thanks, Jody, and thanks, Bruce. So I believe we probably should make a motion here. It's not there, but that we move as a committee to send this work plan to the municipality. Is that correct? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Can
Can
I have them? Sorry?
Can we add in Bruce's, what Bruce just said to the tasks there?
Into the tasks about
The transportation about the municipal. Oh, I guess we can't say that about the municipality then.
well, eco-friendly transportation. I think if we know that the plan is to promote, biking, walking, electric cars, those kinds of things, as long as it's there, do you think we need to write that
Guess
in,
not.
or?
I guess not. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. And it should be in the minutes that Bruce said that, right? So.
Yeah, because we don't want to lose sight of that.
No, that's true. So, okay, so moved by Joanne, seconded by Bruce, that the Sioux Lookout Environment Committee approves this work plan to be sent to the municipality. Is that how you'd say it?
To an extent, we're bringing it to council for their approval. It's actually going to the March meeting here, so.
Okay, so we approve it to go to council for approval, I guess.
In essence, I guess, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, I would like to back up a little bit so that we can discuss a few of these things that that we are doing. Yes?
And it's Trisha here. Sorry to interrupt, but I'll need to hop off now.
All right, well, thank you very much for giving us the time that you could.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You too. Take
Bye,
care.
Trish.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I mean, the curbside swap, I don't think we really have to go through that. We probably won't be able to do it until July when the snow banks are gone, but anyway. I see people are still doing it. Anybody want to talk about that? No? Composting? Well, we could wait till next time for Joe to offer, but that workshop that I attended last night, and there's 2 more. There may be a 4th one. It had some really cool gardening ideas. So I learned lots, but the guy was kind of boring. Okay, communication and education, I think that is sort of our whole umbrella idea. So is this where we want to talk about Facebook now? Like you said, Joyce, it's a separate entity, but I don't see it anywhere on the agenda. Are you there, Joyce?
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
muted.
Yeah, it was on Business Arising. It was after or just before number 3 there.
Just before number 3.
No, number 6,
6-3.
6-3. Yeah. Sioux Lookout Environment Committee Facebook page.
I don't have a 3 on my agenda, but anyway.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay.
no.
Oh,
Anyway.
maybe, yeah, oh, okay.
There was a revised agenda sent out later.
Oh, maybe that's it. I sent you the wrong one. Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
We can discuss it now. Doesn't matter.
well, but I mean, as we're going through this work plan, just to have updates, I think we should maybe discuss it now.
Yeah.
So Joyce, I mean, I've discussed with you, I personally, this is my 2 cents. I think this page needs to be isolated as an education piece, that we're not announcing when the meeting is or anything like that. I think it's just there for education, and it needs to be quick and dirty, like, you know, those gardening workshops or whatever. Things such as curbside swap, you know, environmental recognition, all of those things, I think they need to be put on the municipal Facebook page, because they still need to be approved through Brian. And then I can share them with other Facebook page groups, right? So that's my 2 cents. I'm just curious about what other people have to say, what they think.
I agree with you, Ann. We need to keep it to a communication, education only, and not worry about when the next curbside swap is, or when our next meeting is, etc. Keep them separate.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there too, guys. Just wondering if when the public is going to add stuff to it, is someone going to be checking it to make sure it's appropriate and deleting it if it's not, or if there's some negative chatter or whatever going on, how are we going to deal with all that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I think we've got a thing on there initially to say, you know, keep it clean, folks. And any of us who are on there, any of us who have said we're going to be administrators, we get a notification when there's a new comment made, and we can immediately see it. And if it's inappropriate, we can delete it.
Okay.
What about a post? Like, say somebody is putting on a, you know, gardening workshop, or the Horticultural Society wants to do something about vegetable gardens. I mean, are we going to allow them to post on that, or do we have to approve it?
I don't think, I think the way it's set up now, we don't have to approve it. Chris and Brian suggested we just try it this way and see how it works. And if we find there's problems, then we might have to, you know, restrict it a little bit. But I'd like to see it as flexible as possible, so that it's accessible and people can even comment if they want to, or ask a question, or, you know, something like that. Or even somebody from the public hears about some interesting article or saw an interesting video or something and wants to share it, I think that's the kind of thing we need, is people sharing. When I advertise it, I'm going to say this is not a forum to debate whether or not climate change is man-made or not, This is about education for what is out.
And
This
it
is about
has,
education.
it has to be credible and researched information too.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna say, I don't think it would be such a bad idea if we had the people that are acknowledged on this page. I mean, I agree, we don't need to be advertising dates and all that kind of stuff for meetings, but I don't think it'd be a bad idea to acknowledge, make sure that if only it gets shared to that page.
But it can. I mean, well, see, it's going to be on the municipal page, which is where it gets posted. And then I take it and I put it on all the other Facebook pages that are interested in Sioux Lookout and Hudson and that kind of thing. I think that's probably enough to be put out there. I'd rather see our page more, strictly come here to learn something. Not to celebrate that somebody's done something good, That's my opinion. Okay.
And this would be a really good place to, like that composting course or what that thing that you're going to. When it's done, they usually send you links to the videos.
Yes.
So you could actually turn those videos into MP4s and then upload them again. Or if it's a link to a YouTube video, you can then put those on to this group so people can then see them.
Yeah, I was thinking of that after I watched that video. I mean, after I attended that workshop last night, that it would be a great place to post that there. But if it means that you have to change it to an MP4 or something, I'm going to give it to you, Jesse.
Sure. I do that stuff all the time. But it's there's so much information on the internet. I think it'd be really good if we found environmental stuff, even like gardening or composting stuff that's relevant to where we live right now.
Right.
You have it here because yeah, sure, all that information is great, but it's not useful if it's not relevant to the climate that we live in currently.
Right. I agree. So anyway, okay. So how do we deal with this? Are we?
Oh, does everybody like the lovely what do they call it? Opening picture that.
Yes, perfect.
I love it. It's eye-catching. OMG, very
Isn't
good.
that great? Yeah. Thank you, Bruce.
I got lucky sometimes. At our last meeting, being I've got the floor, we talked about posting things on this Facebook page. And Brian touched on it when he talked about the length of his training videos being the 30-second TikTok limit or 1 minute. And we talked about not including links that has just reams and reams and reams of information. I started, probably like everyone, started looking at stuff I was interested in relating to this committee. And it is really tough to find down, dirty, and quick information that's relevant to the Sioux Lookout climate. It seems to be extensively US or Europe, and it's pages upon pages. Any thoughts? Am I looking in the wrong spot, or can I cut and paste and put it in? I'm not sure. Not being a real computer literate. Thoughts?
I'm totally gonna be sending you guys stuff before I post it, by the way, because I don't know.
Like, I think what we need to do is put on something quick and dirty, and maybe there is a link that if somebody's interested and it's this epiphany that's 83 pages that you have to read, if they're really interested, they'll go to it. But it's just that source. This is a a valued source, a proven source that you can go to and learn from.
Yeah, and if we can get, interesting pictures to, make it an attractive looking page.
Well, I think once we set it up and we're off to the races, I just hope we get some people joining. It needs to be advertised that it's
Yeah,
gonna
well,
be there.
what I thought I would do then after tonight, I'll share it to events.
You can invite people to it too.
Yeah, and if everyone on the committee could invite people, invite everybody on our list and see who shows up. And then I'll put it on the events page.
Okay, there's the 2 events pages, plus there's the Hudson page.
Oh, yeah,
So,
okay. Mhm.
Yeah. But I mean, if you put it on events, I can further it from there. So,
Okay.
okay, any more discussion about the Facebook page then?
So what's our first posting then?
Well, the first posting, I kind of made a faux pas and I posted that gardening thing.
That's okay. We forgive you.
Because I thought, like, there's a one next week, another one, I thought it was pretty timely that if we waited. But yeah, we got
that's
Joyce
fine.
and I got our emails mixed up, and I thought she said go for it, but it was me saying go for it. And anyway, so
Don't worry about it.
Getting back to Jesse's point, she mentioned that if she's going to post a thing on the Facebook, she'd run it by the committee members before doing so. Do we want to go that way, or
I'm not necessarily expecting
use
as a protocol. I'm more likely going to do that for things that because I'm not from up here and I'm not the best gardener. My compost doesn't work. So like I've been trying to compost for 2 years and it just growls at me. It does not work. So I'm going to be doing these things, like sending things to you guys going, does this make sense? Like, is this valid? Not as a protocol of, can I post this? It'll be a sending something to you guys of, do you guys think this is a valid thing to post? Would this work in Sioux Lookout? Because yes, most of the things that I find for this climate are from like Europe.
yeah. See, this is where I think sort of any kind of gardening thing. I mean, of course, George and
George is
Joanne,
awesome.
but there's also Ruth Coughlin. I mean, she's just like this gardening guru. But I don't know if
She's growing plants, her flowers,
she
not
does more flowers. Yeah, she's starting to do vegetables. I doubt very much if she composts, but she may have resources, in order to share that with us, right? From her group of northern gardeners.
But the
Anyway.
thing is, there's already a gardening Facebook page, so we don't want to be like. I don't want to see a whole bunch of postings of people's flowers and whatnot.
Oh, no.
No, but I'm an engineer as well. So a lot of the things that I look for are how can I also work full time. So I'm always like, how can I water my garden without being up there without electricity? What can I build?
Oh,
do that?
Yesterday's workshop was wonderful. It had all these marvelous ideas about having to only water your tomatoes once a week and all that. He had some really good ideas. So,
or how do you keep like a studio or a shed or a bunkie or whatever you call those? How would you keep one relatively warm with minimal electricity throughout the winter? Not warm, but minimally heated or those kinds of things. That's eco-friendly. That's not gardening. But I mean, those kinds of ideas
that would be kind of something I would think to post on this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
that's something that
exactly.
we do here in Sioux Lookout.
That's right.
I mean,
Well,
I think, Jesse, if you want to run anything by us, no problem. But
Yes.
you might also find something really interesting in your travels that just put, that would apply to anybody that's really interesting, and just post it.
Oh no, if I'm fully confident, I'm gonna post
Yeah.
it. If
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm weird, so I don't know, I'll ask you guys for sure.
Okay. So should we try to at least have one a week and see if we can see how it goes, or
Well, let's just do it and see how it goes. Yeah.
just see? Okay, just do it. Go for it, as we say. Okay, I'll get working on that later.
Okay, so the next one, community, I've lost here. Community garden. Joanne, just as I said, that workshop last night had all these amazing things about using your raised garden, and then you make this reservoir out of leaching tiles and all this kind of stuff. And then you have a hose and you fill it up, and it's like one of those flower pots that, it won't let the plant have so much water, it has to wick itself up. Anyway, it was pretty cool. So
Too late now, the bed's already made.
pardon me?
Too late now, the beds are already made.
No, I know. But you can even do it in pots, like he showed these big pots that you do it. And so there were some pretty neat ideas. So Jody, did you have anything about capital projects that we should be aware of tonight?
Not really tonight. Basically, yeah, I did bring up the new, what they're looking at as a battery operated Zamboni, which will, because the one currently is propane operated, so this will help reduce our use of fossil fuels for sure.
So Jody, what about the town beach?
Is that environmentally sensitive?
No, just like whatever's going on down there. Is it almost done, or when are they going to finish? And
The goal is to have it done by, I'm hoping, the walleye weekend. That's the goal.
by when?
The walleye weekend, June 11th, 12th, I think it is.
Oh, for the fishing tournament.
Yes.
If
Will
the
it be open to the public this year?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that'll be nice. So, okay, now the environmental recognition, I have a question for you. The man that showed us, and of course I don't have my minutes right here, I had them up on my screen. The man that showed us the photos and everything of his greenhouse, I mean, I thought they were pretty cool, but that greenhouse, I mean, other people have greenhouses, right? So, I mean, if he was doing a greenhouse that would make a commercial enterprise and he would sell it or whatever and provide locally sourced food, I could see recognizing him. But I don't know. I personally think it's kudos to him for having a greenhouse. That's my opinion. So, I mean, I'm jealous, but that's okay. A lot of work. What I would like to do is recognize Giant Tiger again. We've already done it once, but they have gone plastic bag free.
No, they haven't.
What? They told me March 1st.
Well, that's what they told me too. And then I went in another time and they said, no, they're just, their bags are biodegradable.
Oh,
But
that's BS.
they're not going to give you that 3 cents or whatever for bringing your own bag anymore. I know I got all excited because somebody told me that they were going paperless or bagless or whatever it is. And then I went in the next time and I was talking with one of the people in there and they said, no, that's not true. And so I thought, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
apparently that's not happening.
Thank you for letting me know. Well, that just makes me really mad because I thought, oh, I would love to see Giant Tiger do that, and then maybe Fresh Market would follow suit, but anyway.
Or we could
Okay.
search
Just
out
on the same
every,
topic there,
what?
Pardon?
just on the same topic there, I was into Fresh Market the other day and I forgot or did not have my reusable bag on. And the lady always says, do you want plastic? Okay. And I jokingly said, no, I prefer paper. Well, guess what? They had paper bags. Who would have known?
Yeah, they do have paper, but they're well hidden, you know?
Always
No,
had
I
them.
go through the self-checkout all the time, and on occasion I forget my reusable bags. And they're always, the paper ones are always right there under the plastic ones in the self-checkout.
Uh-huh.
So I never use plastic unless it's chicken. But I have to wrap chicken. That's kind of gross. We could, you know, recognize individuals with a greenhouse. I mean, we don't have to be exclusive here, where we want to go around and kudos to everybody who's doing anything that's eco-friendly. Why not recognize him? You have a greenhouse. That's awesome. Hey, next week, this guy has a greenhouse too. Let's
Yeah.
put him.
Yeah, maybe get the bulletin to do an interview with him or something so that he could explain the whole process of how he set it all up and everything.
Exactly.
Well,
We don't want to go big or go home. We want to recognize everyday people doing things that are eco-friendly, and a greenhouse is great. And if we see somebody 2 weeks later who has a greenhouse as well, let's throw them in the newspaper. You're finding it difficult to recognize people. Well, maybe you're aiming too high. Let's eventually get everybody in Sioux Lookout recognized for something that's green. That should be our goal.
Good point.
Well, I'm good with that, if everybody else is good with that.
Yep.
Yeah, what
Okay.
about Jamie McLeod and his composting?
Hey, oh, I don't know if we want to even go there. We did recognize them,
Did we? Okay.
but
Well, he's not really composting. He's feeding his animals with all the stuff he collects.
yeah, so
Really?
we won't go there.
That's okay. That's okay.
Still environmental friendly.
Yes, I mean, it is, but we did already recognize him for doing that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Hey, listen,
Okay,
guys,
well,
I got
I
a
will-
backyard garden and flower beds. I need some recognition.
Me too.
Well, that's the thing. Well, we will, you know, it's kind of like, you can't be an employee of this to win. So, mind you, we did recognize George, so. Okay, well, I will recognize him. I will get in touch with him and try and get some pictures sent, because I think having pictures makes a huge difference on that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so anybody else you need me to recognize, please send it my way. All right, let's keep going through this. Adaptation and mitigation of climate emergency. Anything to report on that?
Do you think that on our Facebook page, we should publish something about that? Maybe even what is it, the CP24 or COP24 report or something, you know?
Is anybody going to read it, Joyce? You know,
Who knows?
it's got to be, I don't know. I think that's a bit heady.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if, you know, and there's another report came out this week, and is it too heavy, or we should be, this is what you can do rather than do something where we're all dead, you know?
What I'd like to see is that, you know, the municipality has, you know, created a climate emergency plan, you know, and we would post something like that. Something that is Sioux Lookout made for Sioux Lookout.
Is there one through the municipality then, or no?
I don't think so.
No.
I think we need to get one. So, because other municipalities are proclaiming there is a climate emergency, and what we need to do is, you know, live our life the way it is, you know, the proper way, or do what we can to mitigate this. So anyway, well, we can always, let's see how the Facebook page goes before we start putting out Bibles. So locally sourced food and self-sustainability. Anybody have anything to report on that one? Okay, waste reduction, I think that would be good if, thanks Bruce for bringing up the recycling with Brian. Natural ecosystems. Now, Jody, is the protocol still that we ask you as a manager to talk to another manager?
I guess so. I'm gonna have to do a report to council for a mow-free zone. I'll just bring that to April as well, if that's something the environment committee wants to do again, same as last year.
Well, I think, do we want to expand it sort of thing? Like, well, I guess mow-free zones is.
I guess last year, we just did that bylaw wasn't going to enforce the minimum or maximum grass height for a period of 3 months, I believe, or 2 months.
Right.
But yeah, I can always speak to the new Parks and Rec manager about, you know, just keeping areas of town and not mowing them if there's no real reason to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Jody,
know.
this came up last meeting and I volunteered to go speak to the new rec manager, and then I realized, I did not realize that there was a protocol in town. We have to go through you as a manager for me to go in and see the new rec manager to talk about
Oh, really?
mostly
I'll have to
zones
look
within
into it.
the municipality.
Yeah, I'll look into that too. I mean, you as I guess you're not necessarily a member of the public being on the committee, but still, anyone should be able to go talk to the manager about, you know, their concerns or what they'd like to see. So, but anyway, I'll talk to them and we can go from there.
Yeah, I'd be representing the committee, not as a private citizen, so it'd probably best to go through you. I mean, I'm more than willing to accompany you if that's possible.
Well, we could do that too. I'll reach out probably next week and we'll set up a time.
Sounds
That
good.
works. Yeah, yeah, because then maybe Jody, you could give Bruce the whistle and he could then run with it with the new rec manager about areas that could possibly just be left to be natural ecosystems. So,
Okay.
I have to go.
okay, well, thank you very much for your input. We're almost done here, so,
I have a question.
okay.
Are we getting any money?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you know, Jody or Joyce?
Yeah, it was, sorry, yeah, it was approved in the budget already, so.
How much?
$2,500, 2,500,
Okay,
the usual.
great.
Especially now that they only have 2 active committees, no? So, okay, eco-friendly transportation, I think we've actually talked about that. So any updates or new business? All right, thank you. I believe then that our last item is the next meeting of the Environment Committee is scheduled for Thursday, April 7th via Zoom. So we don't need a motion to adjourn, right?
So post away, you guys.
Okay, thanks, Joyce. All righty, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks, Brooke, for helping me
Thanks,
out and
folks.
taking my hand. And I think if it was if the stuff was a Word document, I'd be able to share the screen better than what I had. Because I did save it to my desktop and then I couldn't, it just came up as a PDF there. So anyway, okay, thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Ann.
Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.